To chapter 3. Very quickly, remind ourselves in chapter 2, we learned about Anna Maria and her younger sister's older sister, Lise, who was going to be married to a guy named Peter with red hair. And actually, Lise died in a car accident 2 weeks before she got married. And that it's really difficult for her family to talk about it. We learn about King Christian X, and that all of the other countries around Denmark have Nazi soldiers in them. So the situation is becoming very, very difficult. Chapter 3. Where is Mrs. Hirsch? The days of September passed, one after another, much the same. Anna Maria and Ellen, remember the two best friends and neighbours, walked to school together and home again, always now taking the longer way, avoiding the tall soldier and his partner, the one they called the giraffe. Kirsty, so Anna Maria's little sister, dawdled just behind them or scampered ahead, never out of their sight. The two mothers still had their coffee together in the afternoons. They began to knit mittens as the days grew slightly shorter, and the first leaves began to fall from the trees, because another winter was coming. Everyone remembered the last one. There was no fuel now for the homes and apartments in Copenhagen, and the wintry nights were terribly cold. Like the other families in their building, the Johansons had opened the old chimney and installed a little stove to use for heat when they could find coal to burn. Mama used it too sometimes for cooking because electricity was rationed now. Rationed means that you can only use a little bit every day. So no one uses too much because then it goes. At night, they used candles for light. Sometimes Ellen's father, a teacher, complained in frustration because he couldn't see in the dim light to correct his students' work and papers. Soon we will have to add another blanket to your bed, Mama said one morning as she and Anna Maria tidied the bedroom. Kirsty and I are lucky to have each other for warmth in the winter, Anna Maria said. Poor Ellen, to have no sisters. She will have to snuggle in with her mama and papa when it gets cold, Mama said, smiling. I remember when Kirsty slept between you and papa. She was supposed to stay in her crib, but in the middle of the night she would climb out it and get in with you, Anna Maria said, smoothing the pillows on the bed. Then she hesitated and glanced at her mother, fearful that she had said the wrong thing, the thing that would bring the pained look to her mother's face. The days when little Kirsty slept in Mama and Papa's room were the days when Lise and Anna Maria shared the bed. Remember, Lise died. But Mama was laughing quietly. I remember too, she said. Sometimes she wet the bed in the middle of the night. She peed herself. I did not, Kirsty said haughtily from the bedroom door. I never ever did that. Mama, still laughing, knelt and kissed Kirsty on the cheek. Time to leave for school, girls, she said. She began to button Kirsty's jacket. Oh dear, she said suddenly. Look, this button has broken right in half. Anna Maria, take Kirsty with you after school to the little shop where Mrs. Hirsch sells threads and buttons. See if you can buy just one to match the others on her jacket. I'll give you some kroner. It shouldn't cost very much. Kroner is the money they use in Denmark. But after school, when the girls stopped at the shop, which had been there as long as Anna Maria could remember, they found it closed. There was a new padlock on the door and a sign, but the sign was in German. They couldn't read the words. I wonder if Mrs. Hirsch is sick, Anna Maria said as they walked away. I saw her Saturday, Ellen said. She was with her husband and their son. They all looked just fine, or at least the parents looked just fine. The son always looks like a horror, she giggled. Anna Maria made a face. The Hirsch family lived in the neighborhood, so they had seen the boy Samuel often. He was a tall teenager with thick glasses, stooped shoulders, and unruly and messy hair. He rode a bicycle to school, leaning forward and squinting, wrinkling his nose to nudge his glasses into place. His bicycle had wooden wheels, now that rubber tires weren't available, and it creaked and clattered on the street, made a lot of noise. I think the Hirsches all went on vacation to the seashore, Kirsty announced. And I suppose they took a big basket of pink frosted cupcakes with them, Anna Maria said sarcastically to her sister. Yeah, I suppose they did, Kirsty replied. Anna Maria and Ellen exchanged looks that meant Kirsty is so dumb. No one in Copenhagen had taken a vacation at the seashore since the war begun. There were no pink frosted cupcakes. There hadn't been for months. Still, Anna Maria thought, looking back at the shop before they turned the corner, where was Mrs. Hirsch? The Hirsch family had gone somewhere. Why else would they close the shop? Mama was troubled when she heard the news. Are you sure? She asked several times. We can find another button someplace, Anna Maria reassured her. Or we can take one from the bottom of the jacket and move it up. It won't show very much. But it didn't seem to be the jacket that worried Mama. Are you sure the sign was in German? She asked. Maybe you didn't look carefully. Mama, it had a swastika on it. Remember, the swastika is the sign of the Nazis, that kind of weird-looking shape? Her mother turned away with a distracted look. Anna Maria, watch your sister for a few moments and begin to peel the potatoes for dinner. I'll be right back. Where are you going? Anna Maria asked as her mother stared at the door. I wanted to talk to Mrs. Rosen. Mrs. Rosen is Ellen's mother. Puzzled, Anna Maria watched her mother leave the apartment. She went to the kitchen and opened the door to the cupboard where the potatoes were kept. Every night now it seemed they had potatoes for dinner, and very little else. Anna Maria was almost asleep when there was a light knock on the bedroom door. Candlelight appeared as the door opened, and her mother stepped in. Are you asleep, Anna Maria? No, why? Is something wrong? Nothing's wrong, but I'd like you to get up and come out to the living room. Peter's here. Papa and I want to talk to you. Peter was the man who was going to marry Lise, her older sister. Anna Maria jumped out of bed, and Kirsty grunted in her sleep. Ugh. Peter. She hadn't seen him in a long time. There was something frightening and scary about him being here at night. Copenhagen had a curfew, where you have to stay inside, and no citizens were allowed out after 8 o'clock, like a toque de queda. It was very dangerous, she knew, for Peter to visit at this time, but she was delighted that he was here. Though his visits were always hurried, they almost seemed secret, somehow in a way she couldn't quite put a finger on. Still, it was a treat to see Peter. It brought back memories of happier times, and her parents loved Peter too. They said he was like a son. Barefoot, not wearing anything on her feet, she ran to the living room and into Peter's arms. He grinned, kissed her cheek, and ruffled her long hair. Oh, you've grown taller since I saw you last, he told her. You're all legs. Anna Maria laughed. I won the girls' foot race last Friday at school, she told him proudly. Where have you been? We've missed you. My work takes me all over, Peter explained. Look, I brought you something. One for Kirsty too. He reached into his pocket and handed her 2 seashells. Anna Maria put the smaller one on the table to save it for her sister. She held the other one in her hands, turning it to the light, looking at the rigid, pearly surface. It was so like Peter to bring just the right gift. For your mama and papa, I bought something more practical. 2 bottles of beer. Mama and papa smiled and raised their glasses. Papa took a sip and wiped the foam from under his lip, from his upper lip. Then his face became more serious. Anna Maria, he said, Peter tells us that the Germans have issued orders closing many stores run by Jews. Remember, Jews are Jewish people, different religion. Jews? Anna Maria repeated. Is Mrs. Hirsch Jewish? Is that why the button shop is closed? Why have they done that? Peter leaned forward. It is their way of tormenting. Tormenting some reason. They want to torment Jewish people. Remember, Hitler, the leader of the Nazis, hates Jewish people. It has happened in the other countries too. They have taken their time here, have let us relax a little, but now it seems to be starting. But why the button shop? What harm is a button shop? Mrs. Hirsch is such a nice lady. Even Samuel, he's a dope, he's an idiot, but he would still never harm anyone. How could he? He can't even see with his thick glasses. Then Anna Maria thought of something else. If they can't sell their buttons, how will they earn a living, money? Friends will take care of them, Mama said gently. That's what friends do. Anna Maria nodded. Mama was right, of course. Friends and neighbours would go to the home of the Hirsch family, and they would take them fish and potatoes and bread and herbs for making tea. Maybe Peter would even take them a beer. They would be comfortable until their shop was allowed to open again. Then, suddenly, she sat upright, her eyes wide. "Mama," she said. "Papa! The Rosens are Jewish too." Her best friend. Her parents nodded, their faces serious and drawn. "I talked to Sophie Rosen this afternoon, after you told me about the button shop," Mama said. "She knows what is happening, but she doesn't think that it will affect them." Anna Maria thought and understood. She relaxed. "Mrs. Rosen doesn't have a shop. He's a teacher, Mr. Rosen. They can't close a whole school." She looked at Peter with the question in her eyes. "Can they?" "I think the Rosens will be all right," he said. "But you keep an eye on your friend Ellen, and stay away from the soldiers. Your mother told me about what happened in Oster Brigade, that street." Anna Maria shrugged. She had almost forgotten the incident. It was nothing. They were only bored and looking for someone to talk to, I think. She turned to her father. "Papa, do you remember what you heard the boy say to the soldier, that all of Denmark would be the king's bodyguard?" Her father smiled. "I have never forgotten it," he said. "Well," Anna Maria said slowly, "now I think that all of Denmark must be bodyguard for the Jews as well." "So we shall be," Papa replied. Peter stood. "Look, I must go," he said. "And you, Longlegs, it is way past your bedtime now." He hugged Anna Maria again. Later, once more in her bed, beside the warm cocoon of her sister, Anna Maria remembered how her father had said 3 years before that he would die to protect the king, that her mother would too, and Anna Maria, 7 years old, had announced proudly that she also would. Now she was 10, with long legs and no more silly dreams of pink frosted cupcakes. And now she and all the Danes, the people from Denmark, were to be bodyguards for Ellen and Ellen's parents and all of Denmark's Jews. Would she die to protect them, truly? Anna Maria was honest enough to admit, there in the darkness to herself, that she wasn't very sure. For a moment she felt frightened, but she pulled the blanket up higher around her neck and relaxed. It was all imaginary anyway, not real. It was only in the fairy tales that people were called upon to be so brave, to die for one another. Not in real-life Denmark. Oh, there were the soldiers, that was true, and the courageous resistance leaders who sometimes lost their lives. That was true too. But ordinary people like the Rosens and the Johansons, Anna Maria admitted to herself, snuggling there in the quiet dark, that she was glad to be an ordinary person who would never be called upon for courage, for being brave. That's the end of chapter 3. So basically, they go to the shop after school to find Mrs. Hirsch. She's not there. Her family has been taken away. Because now the Nazis, all over Europe, in Denmark as well, are starting to take away the Jewish people's things. Because they don't like them. And Anna Maria realizes her best friend, Ellen, and her family, they're also Jewish. So what's going to happen?